President. Welcome fellow Toastmasters and guests. This meeting of online presenters has now begun. Guests, please note that in order to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 speeches from either the traditional or Pathways program, or you must have substantive relevant presentation experience that you demonstrate in a 3 to 5 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to board approval. If you have not already done so, and I'm reminding myself, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and role if you have one. Right click on your panel and select rename. We do have members and oftentimes guests from other countries around the world. So we ask that as a professional organization that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we will be recording the meeting. Your video or audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. Also, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Today's theme is summer solstice. I was afraid of tripping over that word. Please welcome our club president, DTM Nick Lakhani. Nick, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Roxanne. Welcome, members. Welcome, guests. Very happy to have you on board. Very happy so that you're here today. One of the things that I wanted to share with you was, I don't know about you, I've had a bad day today. And what we say in this club is, if you've had a bad day, you need online presenters. If you've had a good day, online presenters needs you. Let's share together, let's laugh together, let's cry together, but whatever we do, let's do it together. Let's have some fun. It gives me great pleasure today to welcome our Toastmaster of the Day, making his online presenter's debut. Please give it up for TOD, Toastmaster of the Day, Rick Derling.
Keep the chairs coming, keep the chairs coming. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody. Summer solstice, what is that? Well, coming up on June 20th, it'll be the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. It also happens to be the shortest day of the year in the Southern Hemisphere. And I thought it would be an appropriate thing since we're approaching it. And I thought, you know, a couple of things about summer solstice is probably a good idea. So you might not be aware, in Alaska, for summer solstice, they celebrate by having a baseball game at midnight. At midnight on solstice, they actually have sunlight because it's 24 hours of sunlight in Alaska at that point. There's other places that celebrate it as well. Another place is Stonehenge, and there's lots of places around the world that do that. An odd fact that I didn't realize until I looked it up, the Southern Hemisphere does not experience 24 hours of sunlight except at the South Pole. I thought that was interesting. And that brings us to a number of things that I need to take care of. The first one being word of the day. Today's word of the day is herald. It's a verb. It is to give notice of, announce, to greet especially with enthusiasm, publicize, or to signal the approach of. And in a few moments, I will post it in the chat for everybody to see. My next act is to introduce all the people who are going to make this meeting a success. Now, certainly Nick is one of those people, but he doesn't have a role other than being our president. So let's see who else we have who will be helping make this meeting a success. Our first up is General Evaluator Hector Cabrera. And I will ask you to warmly welcome Hector Cabrera as he explains his role. Hector.
Thank you very much, Rick. I have the pleasure of leading the evaluation team, the most important part of the Toastmasters meeting for me. Receive the reports and the feedback from the people that we be evaluating all the prepared speeches and also the rest of us as we participate and lead the team in giving the reports that you will be introducing as well. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Our next individual is a very important role, and I will let him explain both his role as timer and also to introduce Blue Sky Apps, Lauren, who will be here as demoing a new timing mechanism. So please help me welcome David Carr, our timer for the evening.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to be demoing just, so you need to keep your eye on the Blue Sky timer, little square. Don't watch for colors to be changing my background because they're not going to be changing my background. That's part of the beauty of it. Now it does show the digits ticking by. They're not quite in sync with the digits that I'm seeing. So don't take too much comfort. And if you're trying to figure out if you're about to run over, oh, those digits might mislead you. But still, it is a pretty cool app. And if I can show briefly, what I'm working with here is a little web-based control center for this, where I just set the number of minutes and seconds that I want to time. And when I start this, it starts up here and should show up. Actually, it's not showing up quite in sync at the moment, but I'm still going to ask Lauren, if you want to say a few words, we'll give you up to 30 seconds and I will time you with your own timer.
Got it. Cool. Thank you so much for that intro. Yeah, so the app is controlled in your web browser like this. You can make it count up, count down. There's these different colors, notice time, warning time, alert time. We do plan to make an upgrade in the next few months that would take away the digit. So it's just the color, not the actual seconds going by. And you can also make different templates. So you can automatically load up settings without having to scramble in the middle of a meeting to make those settings change. And then it shows up right directly in your meeting. Right now it's a video and might be a little bit of a delay, but it's in here right in the meeting and you can not have to share your own screen.
Yeah, actually, Lauren, it doesn't seem to be working at the moment.
Well, that's not good.
Well, you know what? Actually, it might be because I was trying to set up a template and I have two windows open. And let me see if I can get it working for the meeting itself. Anyways, back to you, Rick.
Thank you very much, David. I appreciate that. Our next important individual who will be helping us keep this meeting going is our awe counter. Our awe counter today is Natasha Van Ellison. And please help me welcome Natasha as she explains her role.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My role tonight is that of the awe counter. As you all know, as advanced Toastmasters, we aim to eliminate the use of utterances such as and so, and you know, among others. These crutch words and filler words undermine our messages and distract our audiences. The purpose of the awe counter is to listen carefully. I will be listening very carefully and keeping track of when these words are used throughout the entire meeting. At the end of the meeting, I will provide you with a report on your performance. Back to you, fellow Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you very much, Natasha. Our next role player is grammarian Roxanne Hussein. So please help me welcome Roxanne as she explains her role tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to your use of language. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. I'm going to be listening out for anything that just hits me. As grammarian, it's also my duty to make a count of the word of the day, a reminder that that is herald. And as we go through, I will be making count of that as well. When called upon, I'll give my report. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Roxanne. And our next role is watcher. And I will gladly help everybody help me welcome Jeanette Francois to explain her role.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster and fellow Toastmaster and guests. Should I say that? Oh, I wanted to say, hark the herald sing. I'm your watcher tonight, and I'll be looking at everything that's going on the screen. And at the end, I'll give you my report. So back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. One more person that we're going to have helping us keep this meeting going is Carolina Ramirez, who is our chat monitor. Carolina, please take the floor and be welcomed by everybody.
Good evening, everyone. My role as chat monitor is to facilitate the chat of the online meeting platform. And at the end of the meeting, I will give you my report about the important information and highlights posted by the members. And remember, as far as possible, try not to use the chat while a speaker is giving a speech. Back to you, Rick.
Awesome, thank you. And thank you all for taking on roles. One last thing, and two more things actually. One, the vote will happen as a poll later in the evening. Christian will send that out when we give him the high sign to do that. And last but not least, Lee Sing, I want to make sure that we have your timing correct. Do you want 5 to 7 minutes? Is that my understanding?
Is 3 to 5 minute speech, and plus the disruption is supposed to be 7 to 10. That's what Christian says.
Okay, so it's up to you. When do you want the red signal, and we'll work backwards.
Mr. Toastmaster, I will paste the timing signals in the chat for everyone's benefit.
Awesome, because we need to help that, because David will need that right away, because I'm going to introduce her shortly. All right, without further ado, I am ready to begin announcing or introducing our speakers for the evening. Our first speaker is Angela Heath. She is working on the Visionary Communications Project, Learning Your Style. In actuality, she's going to be practicing her speech for the VTMCon webinar contest. She is going to be also having a breakout room available after the meeting, where anybody who has feedback for her is welcome to show up. I know that Angela would very much like to hear from all of you in terms of feedback to make her speech better. But having heard her speech already, I know it's pretty darn awesome. But without further ado, please help me welcome Angela Heath. Publish your message in 4 steps. Angela Heath.
Before I start, I want to make sure, David, am I looking at Blue Sky or am I looking at you for timing?
Yes, please look at Blue Sky. I just had to reset something or reload the page.
Okay.
So it should be fine.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to today's webinar. I am so glad that you decided to join us. For those of you who I don't know, my name is Angela Heath. I am a speaker and trainer from TKC Incorporated. And tonight, fellow Toastmasters, we are broaching a subject that I think you'll find interesting, but more important than that, I think you're going to find it very, very useful. As Toastmasters, how many of you actually have something inside of you, a message inside of you that you really would love to publish? I would love to see a raised hand if that's you. Do you have a message inside of you that you want to publish? And I see that there's at least a half dozen of us. Well, you're going to enjoy tonight because we are talking about how you can publish your message and 4 simple steps. 4 simple steps. That's all it takes. Now come with me, use your imagination. What if you're strolling through Amazon and you come upon something that looks like this? That's right. One of our favorite Toastmasters is occupying the #1 spot as an Amazon publisher. Guys, and it wouldn't matter what club they came from. They can be from Global Trainers Online, Toastmasters Without Borders, Witty Birds. It doesn't matter because we're all family and they're Toastmasters. So use your imagination because you might be the one with that best-selling message. So let's get to those simple 4 steps. First step is to outline your book chapters. There typically are 10 to 15 chapters in a book, and maybe about 10 or 12 topics within each chapter. Now, I see your faces. Some of you are looking perplexed because you're thinking, Angela, you said these were simple steps. Hold on, don't panic. Wait just a moment. These are simple steps. They're so simple that I just published a book using this same process. Toastmasters, what's the one thing that we do so extremely well? We speak. Did you know that in step 2, you could actually speak your book? That's right. Use your chapters and speak your book in clubs and in the community. People want to share in your knowledge. Make sure you record every speech because step number 3, is to transcribe your speech. There are tons of free apps available in the App Store to assist you. And once you transcribe it, you still don't have a book until you complete step number 4, and that is to edit the content. Isn't that simple? 4 steps. Outline your chapters, speak your book, transcribe your recording, and then edit that material. Now, if you feel that this is a simple process that you could use and you're excited about the possibility of publishing your own message, I would love to get some love from you. Use the reactions, put up those hearts, put up those thumbs up. Do you feel that you can get your message out there? I see so many of you do. And guess what? Don't worry. If you have trouble, I'm here to support you. All you have to do is email me. I'm Angela Heath with TKC Incorporated, here to support you. Back to you, Contest Master.
Thank you, Angela. Excellent speech. I invite everybody on the chat to go ahead and put comments in chat for Angela. And again, I invite you to spend some time with Angela in a breakout room after the meeting. I know for a fact from what she told me that she definitely will welcome that feedback. It is now time to move on to our second speaker. Our second speaker today is Lising Zhu, and she is doing Presentation Mastery Level 4, Managing a Difficult Audience. Now, the speech time for her is up to 10 minutes. And for this speech, she is going to be interrupted by selected members. The members have been selected before her speech. She doesn't know necessarily who those people are. So I ask that if you have not been selected, please don't jump in and interrupt. In this speech, Lising will be discussing the pros and cons of consuming organic or conventional foods. Lising will also make a few recommendations regarding our decision on food selection. Please help me welcome Lising Zhu, organic or conventional Lising Zhu.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Let me share my screen first. Give me just 1 second. All right. Organic or conventional food. The look, the taste, they just similar, and they may have similar nutrition value. Which one we should buy? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Organic food in the United States are the food that are certified by USDA as USDA organic. They're grown and processed according to USDA standards in terms of fertilization of the soil, the control of the pest, raising of the animal, etc. Organic food, they're supposed to be more natural. In the past 10 or 15 years, the consumption of organic food has increased tremendously and entered the mainstream grocery stores. And more people in the main street like you and me are wondering if we should or go for organic. Because organic, though they're a little bit more expensive, but it might be even cleaner, even safer for our consumption.
Hey, Nick, how much is the price of organic food in the UK? Is it like cheaper than the US or?
The UK versus US, I have not to do the research on UK situation. It might be, I'm not sure. The question regarding organic food is, are they even really safer or cleaner than the conventional food? The answer, based on my study, is yes. First, based on the USDA organic farming standard. In the organic produces, the synthetic pesticides are, most of them are banned, which makes the organic produces are less contaminated than the conventional produces. There is a study in 2002 shows that only a little bit more than 20% of the organic samples, fruits and veggies, contain pesticide residues versus over 70% of the conventional food. Fruits and veggies. Okay.
If it contains even a little bit of pesticide, is it still safe?
Yes, actually, you are right. If that's what I'm going to talk about later on. So even in the conventional food, it contains a little more pesticides, but the levels are low, below the EPA standard level. Therefore, they may not have meaningful health impact to us. So that's good news, right? That said, here comes my recommendations.
Professor Sarah, I have a question for you. How do you know that the food that's organic is labeled correctly at the supermarket and they're not just changing the sign to make you pay more for it?
That's a great question. In the supermarket, if you see the sign, as I put it at the beginning of this slide set, the USDA organic, those are authentically organic. But sometimes in the farmers market, people just put organic there. They may or may not be really organic. We are really not sure. That is really a great question. So here is my recommendation. If you can afford and you have deep pocket and you believe organic is...
There's the issue. And I was wondering if you were going to get to this. If you can afford it, what we're talking about here is a first world issue. If we, for example, were to only grow organic foods, there would be literally millions of people all over the world who would die from starvation because pesticides have helped give us a greater crop yield than could ever be done with organic chemicals, with organic growing.
I agree with you totally. So if you have money, yeah, this is first world issues. Even in the first world, there's some people are not just as wealthy as others. Therefore, for the rich people, hey, you can afford, you go for organic. That's no problem. It's certainly, you may not even reap as much benefit as you wish, but it's an extra layer of protection because organic, yes, they are cleaner. But for the third world people, all the people in the first world, who are not as rich and who don't want to spend much money on food. And then we just go ahead to go conventional. There's nothing wrong in the conventional food. Maybe it contains a little bit more the pesticide residues, but level is low enough to have no significant health impact on us. We know that the toxicity is mostly about dosage, right? So the best strategy for us is, for the most of us, is to buy the combination of organic and conventional produces. For those on the dirty dozen list, those with the most pesticide residues, we may want to buy organic, such as strawberry, blueberry, celery, kales, etc. And for those on the clean 15 list, those fruits and veggies with the least pesticide residues, we may want to buy the conventional ones to save money. But all in all, it's very important to wash your fruit and veggies with running water thoroughly so that you can remove the pesticide residue on the top, on the surface of your produces. And even better, you can just peel off the skin because the skin is where retains the most of the pesticides. All things considered, foods are utmost important to our health. We are at a certain degree what we eat. Therefore, it's our responsibility to educate ourselves for the pros and the cons and cost and benefit of all kinds of food and make decisions wisely to live a healthy life. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Lising. Well done. I will now turn to our timer, David Carr, and ask for a timer's report. And if you like, you can just post it in the chat or however you like to proceed.
Well, the important thing is both speakers qualify, everybody was within time, and we'll leave it at that.
Rock. Thank you very much, David. All right, we're going to have extra time for our table topics this evening. So I would very much like it if everybody would give a warm welcome to April Elise, who is our table topics master tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And just a brief description for our guest, Lauren. Table Topics is an impromptu speaking section for which speakers will be called at random, and they'll have up to 2 minutes to reply. And as a reminder for our timer, please display green at 1 minute, yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, and red at 2 minutes. So keep it in spirit of our summer solstice theme. Our table topics this afternoon is going to be summer related. And looks like we have a lot of time this afternoon, so we'll try to get to as many people as possible. So for our first question, we will go to Toastmaster Rosina Duncanson, and it would be, what is your favorite thing about summer? What is your favorite thing about summer?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. What is my favorite thing about summer? First of all, I live in Nassau, Bahamas. So of course, what is fun about living on the islands? The beach, the beautiful, clear, waters of the Bahamas is one of my most favorite things. To get up and to get out and to walk very slowly from the beach into the clear ocean. It's just amazing. It's warm. You can see your feet for miles. You can swim and spend time with family. But the beach is not just for swimming. There's also boating. Get on a boat and you can take a boat to various islands away from where I live. Some about 30 minutes away, some are even shorter. And so you can kind of hop island to island all summer long. The next thing is the fruits. There are different fruits for different seasons. Right now, for me, it is mango season, and I've said it once and I'll say it again. I love me some mangoes. There is mangoes fresh, mango daiquiris, mangoes in a smoothie. You can do anything with a mango. And so the fruits of the summer is the next best thing. And lastly, and most importantly, things are a lot more fun in the summer. Kids are home from school, so the energy picked up. There's summer camps and there's summer things to do. And so summer in the Bahamas is one of my favorite things. Back to you.
Thank you. I visited Nassau, Bahamas 2 years ago. Now I'm missing it so much more. I want to go back. Thank you. So our next question would be for Toastmaster Jim Barber. Tell us about your favorite summer childhood memory. Again, tell us about your favorite summer childhood memory. This is for Jim Barber.
Thank you, Madam Topics Master, my fellow Toastmasters. My favorite summer childhood memory. Well, I loved childhood. To me, childhood was perpetual summer because every day was joyful. Every day was filled with fun until something awful happened. I started school. Now, don't get me wrong, school was okay, but there were so many rules and I had to please the teacher and they kept changing their minds on things. They'd say that 3 and 3 is 6. And then the next day they'd say, no, 4 and 2 is 6. And that's what, get it straight. School was a problem, but school didn't last forever because every year summer vacation would arrive. And that was wonderful, not because it was summer necessarily, but because it was vacation. It was not in school. No more teachers, no more rules, no more anything like that. It was just having fun for 3 glorious months. And ever since then, I have treasured every summer minute that I have, regardless of the temperature. That doesn't matter. You can be freezing cold and it is summer if I am on vacation, because work was just another form of school. And so I graduated from school, went to work. Yeah, big deal, except I didn't get 3 months of vacation. I didn't know how well I had it at the beginning. But now, from this point on, I can tell you summer is something to be treasured. Not because of the temperatures, not because of the weather, but because of summer vacation. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jim Barber. I think we all can agree with that. I do miss those 3 months of summer vacation. We'll take that back in a heartbeat. So our next question would be for Toastmaster Emily Thompson. If you could choose to be born in any season, would you choose summer? And why or why not? Again, the question is, if you could choose to be born any season, would you choose summer? Why or why not?
Yeah, I'd like to approach this from the point of view of the mother, because when you're born, it doesn't matter as long as you have a mother, which season you're born in. But from the mother's point of view, and I just went to a baby shower yesterday, from the mother's point of view, summer is a wonderful time, early summer, to have your baby, because it's hard to be pregnant when you're pregnant all through the summer. And I had 2 of my 3 children in early summer in June, and it's just wonderful because you're no longer pregnant and you have these beautiful babies that can't run away from you yet. They can't sass you yet. And they're very easy to entertain because they sleep most of the day. So I would say, I would love for babies to be born, let's say in May and June. You don't have to spend much time dressing those little babies. They can just wear a diaper, for goodness sake. And they learn to smile in 2 months. So you got smiles by August. You've got rolling over in July. It would just make a beautiful summer to have a baby at the beginning of summer. My vote would be for babies to be born in early summer. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thanks, Toastmaster Emily. Great answer. I have 3 kids and 2 of the 3 were born during summer months. Okay, next question is for Toastmaster Donna Knight. What is your favorite summer destination? Again, the question is, what is your favorite summer destination?
I am, without a shadow of a doubt, the most boring person you've ever met when it comes to vacation. I live alone and I love my home. I cannot think of anywhere I really want to go when it's summer other than home. I'm not a beach fan. Water serves 2 purposes, hydration and cleaning. So I'm not a beach fan. Although if you go to the beach here in Jamaica during the summer, we have Hershire, and if you like fish, it's the place to be. I really like being at home because I teach. And even though they say you get summer holiday, you really don't get that much. You get quite a bit away from the children, but you have quite a bit to do. And so at the end of the day, not just being an educator, but being part of administration, you just want to hide away from everybody. And there are so many activities. Usually we have training for the educators, training for administrators during the summer. So my favorite thing is to come home, be home. And when I was younger, my mother would say that your vacation can also be in your house. So I would have I'd clean, I'd change my curtains, I'd change everything. And I would get my favorite snacks, my favorite food, takeout, everything. And I would just relax at home. When this summer comes, I'm really going to need it after all that has been going on and quite a number of challenges with the educators, with the challenging system. I am looking forward. I'm hoping to get 1 week of no flights, no argument with anybody, order my favorite food, and lock away with my favorite shows. Low key is definitely high on the list. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thanks, Toastmaster Donna. There's nothing wrong with that, a staycation. Okay, so our next question would be for Toastmaster BDC. Summer is often a time for travel. What is your preferred travel method? Flying or driving, and why? And again, summer is often a time for travel. What is your preferred travel method? Flying and driving, and why?
I believe unless you know how to drive, you really should fly. But if you're familiar with the concept of driving, driving is the proper way to go on any vacation, because you can do something in a car that you can't do in an airplane. You can stop, get out, and look around. Too often times when you're in an airplane, you go from one location to some other airport to where you have to be. And that's all you're doing. You get to choose between McDonald's or Burger King or whatever fast food joint is at the actual place, or you get airline foods. But being in a car, that's when you really get to experience the concept of traveling, the concept of getting away from where you are and getting to where you need to be. And there's one thing I always like about traveling. And I think this is the most important thing I've ever done when it comes to traveling. My dad would park us in the back of the station wagon, and we would travel from point A to point B. And in the process, something would catch my eye. I'd be like, Dad, we got to stop. I'd be like, why? I'm like, because there's a historical marker coming up. I'd be like, no, we don't have to stop for that. We're making great time. And so he would never let us stop. And I always wanted to see, what was this monument? What was this thing? The highway was telling me something important happened here. Stop and look at it. See what this thing is. Read about it. Learn about it. Now I'm a dad, and I stop at every historical moment I see, every scenic outlook, because I realize it doesn't matter if you're making great time, if you're not having a good time in the process. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thanks, Toastmaster BDC. I feel guilty now because I love flying. So now I feel like I'm robbing my kids of the experience that they should be having. Okay, our next question is for Toastmaster Graham. I'm interested to see how he's going to answer this question with his sense of humor here. Pick this one just for him. Okay, so you have a long lost uncle that you never knew about who has passed away. He has left you $1 million, but there's a catch. You must spend this all on a vacation to be taken by the end of this month. What is your vacation like and how you're going to spend that $1 million by the end of this month?
Madam Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, there are two answers that I can give to this. And one is that, of course, I live in a country which is an awfully long way from anywhere else, which means that for us to go anywhere is going to cost a lot of money. It's just the nature of the beast. But given that we're not allowed to actually leave the country at the moment, or if we do leave the country, we're not allowed to come back, it would have to be taken within Australia. One of the reasons why Australians are such inveterate travelers is because it's so much cheaper for us to go somewhere else. If I can fly from my home here in Brisbane, Australia to Bali, have a week in Bali, go and get dental work done there, spend 4 weeks recovering, spend another 4 weeks holidaying, fly back to Australia, and it's still less expensive than if I was just to fly from one side of the country to the other and spend 4 weeks in a motel. But that's still not going to spend $1 million, not by the end of the month. Now, the other question that is implicit in this is, do I actually have to physically take the holiday now, or can I book it before the end of the month? And if I can book it by the end of the month, there is a solution. And that is to join Elon Musk and whoever the dude was who paid $1 squillion to take a suborbital flight into space. I always wanted to be an astronaut. I mean, my heroes were Aldrin and Collins. My heroes were John Glenn and Yuri Gagarin. My heroes were, hell, even Laika, who went up there and never came back. Didn't actually make it into orbit, as I understand it. The poor dog died before it even got that high, but that's not the point. I've had this fascination with space travel, and the fact that I could use that $1 million, plus a few more probably, to buy a flight to space, that would be my holiday. Madam Topics Master.
Good answer, Topics Master Graham. I think that would be a great deposit for a flight to outer space. Okay, next question. This would be for Toastmaster Lucas. Some parts of the world get fruit all year. Summer is a season of mangoes and melons. What are your favorite fruits or favorite foods for the summer?
That is a great question. And given that it is mango season, and not that it's mango season necessarily in Miami, but there are a lot of mango trees that people like to borrow from neighbors, and there's a great demand for it. I would say mangoes, really any fruit that is refreshing, that has a lot of water. That's the kind of fruit that I'm going to go to on a hot summer day in Miami, Florida. I'm also going to look at fruit flavored ice cream bars. And the one that comes directly to my mind is a coconut flavored ice cream bar. I'm imagining it now. I might even go out after the meeting and buy one. But that is something that I really crave. That is something that I've enjoyed in summers past, as well as any kind of fruit like mangoes, apples, watermelon, you name it. If it's sweet and juicy, I am there. And that's the kind of fruit that I am definitely going to be enjoying all summer long. Back to you, Madam Topics Master.
Thanks, Toastmaster Lucas. That sounds really yummy. And our last question this afternoon would be for Toastmaster Marian Grady. Because of lack of funds, your family has planned to do a staycation this summer. What will you do in and around the area for a 2-week vacation?
Well, luckily, I live about between 10 and 15 minutes from the beach. So we have a boardwalk close by. We have several beaches, and our neighbors have made it a tradition. So we go out for an evening walk usually, and then everyone gets in their car and drives down to the beach for sunset. So it's just like this ritual where everyone gathers, people bring food, sometimes they light a fire, but it is like, to me, the just summer in, just one little time. And I do lots of other things outside. I like to ride my bike, I like to walk, things like that. They're my normal life all the time. But in the summer, they're a lot more fun. It's good to see all the flowers out now. But the sunsets, whether I'm home or whether I'm traveling, they just have this attraction for me. And, one of my favorite places for a sunset was in Greece, and it was just absolutely beautiful. But I feel like very lucky to just be able to take a short drive, gather with friends, and, witness the sun going down again on another day. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thanks, Toastmaster Marian Grady. That sounds so beautiful. Well, thanks everyone for your answers for today's table topics. Thanks to all our participants. Now it's time for me to hand it back over to our Toastmaster of the day. Thanks.
Thank you very much, April. I do appreciate you leading an excellent table topics. Well done. And now I'll turn to David Carr to see if we can get a timers report. And David, you've put the names of everybody in chat, and I appreciate that thoroughly. Thank you very much.
Yeah, everybody's within time. I think Lucas, I didn't quite capture exactly when, because the time disappeared off the screen. I'm still getting the hang out of that. But anyway, everybody's within time.
All right, excellent, excellent. Our next person up is our general evaluator. I am very pleased to introduce Hector Cabrera, who will take us through evaluations and call for various reports throughout the meeting. Hector, let's welcome Hector warmly.
Thank you very much, Rick. It's great to get to be your general evaluator. And first, I have the job of being the herald of the evaluation team because, of course, this is a team sport. To me, the evaluation is the most important part of any Toastmaster meeting. John Maxwell used to say, practice does not make perfect. Reflected practice makes perfect. And this is where we get the gift of receiving feedback from an excellent team. So let me start right away introducing our first speech evaluator, Carol Prahinsky, who will be evaluating Angela Heath on her speech, Publish Your Message in 4 Steps. Carol.
Thank you, Hector. It's a pleasure to be here. And Angela, thank you for this speech. I'm ready to start publishing. One of the things that I loved about your speech was it did make it easy. So as I review it, I think, wow, this isn't that hard. And you're right. This is a guide for all of us. And the benefit was that you did make it easy so that we can actually feel like it's not that hard. I loved your smile. I loved that you had 4 easy steps. I also liked your banner that you had installed under your name, under your face. And I was like, oh, that's so professional. So these are some things that come across really phenomenal. I would like a little bit more of a vision for us and what that means. So ask us to pause. If you could add another 30 seconds in, get us to think, what would our message to the world be? And then start preparing our speeches. on each of those topics as it relates to our vision for that book. So I felt like there was one little step missing. I could call it a little step, but what is my book going to be on? Not just a compilation of various speeches that I've given. I also would like you to not use notes. Get away from the notes altogether. I want to see your eye contact. I want you to be looking right at me. And it makes a stronger connection. Also, I don't think you needed the notes. So you'll be fine without it, honest. So you have the great capabilities to pull this all together, and we are just going to be in a really good place because all of us are going to be publishing our books and coming through Amazon and hanging out in the aisle of the best Toastmaster books around. Thank you so much. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator Hector.
Thank you very much, Carol. Now I have the pleasure to introduce Surya Vangala, who's going to be evaluating Lee Seung-soo on such a difficult speech, organic or conventional, and handling a difficult audience. I please ask Surya to go ahead and take the screen.
Thank you, Hector, and especially thank you, Li Xing. It was a great speech. You had a strong presentation, and clearly your experience as a professor has honed your skills to make a persuasive presentation to the audience. We benefited from your research. I loved your slides. You explained to us why we should choose organic food, what is organic food, and how it has now become available in mainstream grocery stores, and therefore it is part of our daily lives. And you explained also the benefit of eating organic food, and therefore we would be eating food with 20% pesticides rather than 70%. And you were excellent in handling the folks who asked questions. All in all, you offered some solutions to Krishnan when he asked you the question about UK versus US. You did not miss a beat. You just answered him and moved on to the next interruption. And it occurred, I believe, from Graham, who asked about the affordability of the food, or maybe it was another person. Maybe I'm mixing the two. But there was a question about affordability, and you answered it with calm poise and said, hey, maybe you want to use a combination of organic food and regular food, which can make it more affordable for folks who are on a budget. And that could be, and the concept of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 was also well articulated in your presentation. So now, what could you do to take this presentation to the next level? I asked time. I wasn't sure about exactly how much time you took, but my understanding or perception is that you did not use the entire 10 minutes allocated to you. And if you had extra time remaining, I would say you could persuade us in a much stronger way. And the strength would come from a personal story. With all these things, how, Li Xing, have you changed your life? How have you changed your grocery shopping habits? And why is it so urgent that we should change our habits? After all, it is more expensive. I have to do more research. I have to look for the labels. Why in the world, Li Xing, would I do all that? So those are the two things, if you could add, I believe you would have a stronger story. Persuade me. I'm halfway there. You could take me to the end and persuade me to change my habits. Next shopping, I go to the grocery store. So all in all, Li Xing, you have a strong foundation. You're an excellent presenter, good eye contact. Perhaps these two minor suggestions would help you take it to the next level. Back to you, Hector.
Thank you very much, Surya. Now I ask our timing David Carr to please publish the timing of each of our speech evaluators and start thinking about your vote for best evaluator. Two great demonstrations how speech evaluation is done. And now let me go to the functionary reports to help us stay on task. And let me start first by our grammarian, Roxanne Hussein. Roxanne.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. The word of the day was used 3 times that I noted, and if I missed anybody, I am sorry, but Jeanette did use it, and you, Hector, started off with it, and I believe Carolina used it once as well. The things that stood out for me, I'm just going to go in the order that they picked up rather than going by way of what was good, what was bad. I did hear someone say, well, anyways, go with anyway, not pluralizing it. Now, Rick did use this one, and there's nothing wrong with it. And cliche is cliche for a reason. You should typically, it works, but without further ado. That's one that tends toward the overused side. I liked Angela's use of broaching a subject. And, oh, sorry, those other notes are feedback for Angela's speech. Moving on. Li Sing, peel the skin of your produces, go with produce. The singular works as a plural in this case. And there were a lot of colorful language you used I enjoyed. Rosina's very descriptive languages, the beautiful clear waters. I did enjoy, I love me some mangoes. Oh yeah, I'm giving you credit for that, not demotions. I liked Donna's use of anaphora, where she said no flights, there was a string of things that she didn't want to do, which made what she was saying melodic and rhythmic. There was that BDC's exclamation when he used characters to convey what was going on. That was another good use of a speech gimmick that made him pleasing. Graham, if you noticed when Graham spoke, he sounded like he was reciting poetry. That was due to that varying of sentence lengths that he did, which included some run-on sentences, where run-on is not a bad thing here. It really made that sound melodic. Enjoyed that. Good use of that. I liked Miriam's end, witness the sun going down on another day, when she used it in
Roxanne,
both a
these are
literal,
supposed to be,
time's up.
this is supposed to be a minute. I'm going to put the timer on for the next
Good,
ones,
okay,
but,
then we're good. But that both literal and figurative, loved it, Marianne, it was great. And oh, that was my end. I'm done.
There we go.
Back to you. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Roxanne, and to our timer. Now, next in the order of reports, our watcher, Jeanette Francois. Jeanette, please take the screen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Yes, well, I looked all of you on the screen and everything was bright. There was sparkles all over the place. And I like the fact that Mr. Cabrera had, like palm trees, and it looks very sunny and bright. I feel like we have an island feel with his virtual background. I like the fact also that Soria also has the summer solstice indication on the background. And it reminded me of the farmers market calendar kind of thing going on with the summer solstice. And wow, everybody looks wonderful, bright, very beautiful. I see beauty all over the place. So thank you very much for me to see such wonderful people and smiling, very magnificent. So yeah, and Graham with the corals for the backgrounds. Thank you so much. You all looked great and wonderful. So back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Jeanette. Next, my most difficult thing, regardless of what language I'm speaking, we have our accountant, Natasha Van Ellison, is going to help us with that. Natasha, could you please share your report?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Thank you so much. I did place in the chat box a couple of things just for the sake of time. Double clutches. Was. the, wa. I heard some filler words. One would be H-E double hockey stick, Graham. I did hear some ums and some ahs. Overall, I think that everyone did well. I'm guilty. The only thing that we must continue to ensure that we do is to take a pause. Back to you, Mr. Master Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Natasha. I have the pleasure to introduce one of our newest members of the club doing this role for the first time, I believe, our chat monitor, Carolina Ramirez. Carolina, please.
Thank you, Hector. Yes, first time for me. These are the highlights on the chat. We had some comments about nutrition, different nutrition, fried crickets in Thailand, worms dipped in chocolate, and I learned about the cicada diet. It seems to be a good source of protein. Graham shared with us a link with some of his posts about places to travel. Take a look, you can find great pictures. Congrats, Graham, for your blog. And BDC shared a very useful link to plan an offbeat road trip. Take a look if you are interested in traveling to new and strange places. That's my report. Back to you, Hector.
Thank you very much, Carolina. And now I have a few remarks on the meeting as a whole. First of all, Rick, you mentioned this is your first time as Toastmaster of the day with the online Toastmasters, and you just show me how it's done. I am literally shaking in nervousness to be a Toastmaster of the day with one online Toastmasters, and you put me at ease on how great you handle this meeting. The theme, it's something we can all relate, of course, and invited so much participation of the members. And it evoked times of vacation. Some of us were looking forward to it, others that probably are winter and just dreaming of the near future. The timer, David, it's a great place to fail, Toastmasters. That's what I've been told. And you took the risk of presenting an innovative tool, maybe a few glitches as you were presenting it, but I think it added a different dimension because I can be watching the speaker and see the timer at the same time, or if I were a speaker. I think this is not only a great tool, but also keep showing that interest of keep looking for ways to improve the experience on online Toastmasters. Thank you for bringing that. Our table topic session was also fantastic, very much on theme. Great participation of all the people, made me dream of being in the Bahamas and childhood memories, traveling versus taking a real journey. My two babies were born in the summer, and the creative ways of how to spend $1 million if I had them. Oh, this is fantastic. And whether or not you can spend $1 million or just have your vacation around the corner of your house and enjoying your house, just as we were forced to do last year. That was a great session. One thing I will suggest maybe in the few sessions that I have been in online Toastmasters, most of the time on these sessions, the table topic comes with a question already with a person in mind and tells this question is for such and such. That leaves the rest of us that I don't have to even worry about what I will say. If you instead will throw the question in the air, nobody knows who's going to respond. It makes me think on my response, then you might choose me or not, but at least I thought about it, and that's a good exercise. But that's just a suggestion. It can be done in different ways. And as a whole, the meeting was really, really fantastic. I truly enjoy it. And I remember everyone will have our voting for best evaluator and best speakers and the best table topics in a ballot form. And with that, I conclude my report and turn it back to our Toastmaster of the day, Rick Darling.
Well done, Hector. And a massive thank you to everyone who held roles tonight. Thank you very much for doing an excellent job, from the speakers to the evaluators to our counters. Christian, can you launch the poll for us at this time?
Oh.
The Toastmaster, I'm going to go ahead and remove hosting rights from our co-host so they can vote as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You put the poll back up for those that didn't
Yeah, it
finish.
disappeared on me.
All right. So just bear with me. I will relaunch the poll. I will relaunch the poll. There you go. Poll has been relaunched.
If we already voted once, do we vote again?
Yes, it has been reset. Everyone can vote except for me.
No double voting.
Unless you're in Chicago.
Please do cast your vote. We need your votes to clear the table topics. It's close at the moment. It's so close. It's like a very close race. And I'm the only one who can see it. This is amazing.
Is it a butterfly ballot?
Well, while everybody is voting, I can pass the meeting back to Nick, if that's all right, because I think Nick's the one who actually calls for the display of the results. If everybody works with that, let's welcome Nick McConney, our president and excellent president for the past year. Nick?
Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you very much to all the speakers, evaluators, role players. What a wonderful meeting. I learned a lot. I also got a little bit hungry talking about mangoes and ice creams, tasting of coconuts and all sorts of fun and games there. And I think the next holiday I'm having is going to be at the Bahamas, although it'll be a virtual one at the moment, but hey, we'll take what we can, right? I'm really happy that we had a wonderful meeting today, whilst Christian is tabulating the scores, and he's going to actually WhatsApp me the results. What I'd like to do is just have a word with one, I believe we have one guest in the room today. Tell us what your takeaways are. Lauren, are you there? Or did she? Okay, so maybe she may have had to leave. Okay, I don't see her. No problem. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just make a couple of announcements for the education team. We obviously need to make sure that we sign up for the coming weeks, over the next few weeks and so on. And one of the key things is that I want you to think about July, August, what your plan is, and start taking the roles. You can actually start taking the roles a number of weeks in advance. I know you're all very good at taking the speaker slots. Take the other roles as well. In terms of VTMCon, lots of things going on. Obviously, our wonderful, delicious Angela is going to compete and go and bring that big trophy for us, aren't you, Angela? And one of the things that is going on is that the contest is actually this Saturday. Don't tell anybody, but it's being recorded. It's live, but recorded. What we're looking for is from online presenters, from every club really, but online presenters needs to send a voting judge and a timer. Also, there's going to be a breakout room available after the meeting today, as mentioned earlier, where Angela is going to be there. Please give her your feedback. Okay, it's really important that you give her whatever feedback you can, let her assimilate it, and then prepare for Saturday. Now, in terms of the voting today, let's have a look. The best table topic speaker, drum roll. It was a close race apparently, with the winner being Mr. Jim Barber. Best evaluator, drum roll, another close decision, Carol Prahinsky. And best speaker, another close one. Please give it up for Angela Heath. With that, we have a couple of minutes, which is great. We don't normally get a chance to do this. Does anybody have any feedback, any questions? Just a very quick, succinct comment or question, please. We do have cameras rolling, by the way. Go ahead, Hector.
Yes, I did not mention this on my evaluation portion. It's just a question. I've noticed in the agendas, as I've received them for the last meetings I have attended, there's always a member induction ceremony portion in the agenda. And we don't have, obviously, a new member induction every time. I was a little bit confused. I was excited. Maybe we're getting a new member today. Maybe this is something we can improve so that it's there when we have a new member and it's not for the other times. It's just a comment to improve the agenda. But that's just an observation.
No, that's great, Hector. Thank you. And I'm sure Andy's going to look out for you for your assistance because you're signing up for to be one of his 7 assistants, right?
Get me, you put me in, of course.
I do want to encourage feedback.
Just fill out the link, Hector.
Yes, just click on the link.
Okay.
No, one of the really important things that we have done over this year, and Christian and his team have done a wonderful job, is to keep the consistency, raise the level. There are 1 or 2 things that need to be ironed out, but hey, if we solved all the issues, the next board won't have anything to do, will they? But yeah, very, very good point. We perhaps need to look at that. And also with the new member induction, and from July, we're going to be voting in new members in the club meetings. So therefore, there are a few things that the new board will have to take note of. Now, what I'd like to do is, we are coming up to the end of the meeting. Let me just bring up Rick. Rick, how was your debut as a wonderful Toastmaster of the Day today? I thought you did a great job. You were on point. You had everything organized. How did you feel?
About the only thing that was a bit more of a crunch than I expected was just making sure everybody was coordinated while we were gathering for the meeting. That is a chat intensive activity that I didn't quite anticipate, but other than that, this was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. You made it look like fun. We enjoyed it. Those of you out there, I hope you enjoyed it too. Come back this time next week, 7:15 for a 7:45 start Eastern Daylight Time. Next week is the summer solstice, 21st of June, and we'll look forward to seeing you. My name is Nick Lakhani. I'm president of this wonderful club, and it's my great honor to call a close to the meeting. Have a great week. See you next Monday.
Lysing has her hand up.